Understanding how to ethically use information is an important part of your college education, as well as for your future career. This tutorial will cover the basics of copyright, why copyright is important, and the fair use exception in copyright. You may be asking yourself, why should I care about copyright? The answer is that not only do you use copyrighted works, but you are also the owner of copyrighted works. Artistic and literary works created in the U.S. are subject to the U.S. Copyright Act. This includes books, maps, sculptures, computer programs, music, and videos, just to name a few. Under U.S. law, works are protected from the moment of creation as long as they have some originality and are fixed in a medium that can be perceived by a human or machine. So any papers you write at Purdue, or the photos and videos you take with your cell phone, are all protected by copyright, and you own that copyright. You own that copyright for your entire life, plus 70 years after your death, unless you transfer your copyright. You also use copyrighted works to create new works. Sometimes you will need permission from the copyright holder to use their works, and other times your use might be allowed under the fair use exceptions of the copyright law. If your use is considered fair, then you do not have to ask for permission or pay the copyright holder for the use. Fair use is a 4-factor test where you weigh each factor and then determine if more factors weigh in favor of fair use or against. The first factor looks at the purpose and character of your use of the original work. If your use is for educational purposes such as a commentary or criticism, then that favors fair use. If you are using the work for commercial use or to make a profit, then that weighs against fair use. The second factor looks at the nature of the original work. Is the original work very creative, such as a work of fiction, or is it more factual in nature? Facts are not protected under the copyright law, so the use of any factual work would weigh in favor of fair use. The more creative a work, then the greater the protection. The third factor addresses the amount of the original work used. The smaller the amount, the greater the likelihood that the use would be considered fair. Using a large amount or the entire work would weigh against fair use. The fourth factor looks at how your use of the work impacts the market for the original work. Would your work be a substitute for the original work? Would people purchase or license your work instead of the original work? Under this factor, you always have to consider if your use of the original work will cause the creator to lose revenue from either sales or licensing. So look at all 4 factors and decide how many weigh in favor of fair use. If the majority of them are in favor, then go ahead and use the work without seeking permission from the copyright holder. If you need to request permission, make sure that the permission is in writing. If permission is denied, then you should substitute something comparable or just not use the work. Not all works are protected by copyright, and there are some works where the creator welcomes others to use their works. Works that are in the public domain are not protected by copyright and can be freely used. Works that are produced by U.S. federal government employees as part of their job are public domain, as well as works that were published in the U.S. prior to 1923. There can be works that are protected by copyright, but where the creator encourages the use of their work subject to certain conditions. They generally will attach Creative Commons licenses to their work, which allows various uses. It's important to look at all of your options when using or creating copyrighted works. This tutorial covered the basics of copyright, why copyright is important to you, and the fair use exception in copyright. For more information on copyright, contact Purdue's University Copyright Office or check out their website, www.lib.purdue.edu/UCO. Thank you for watching this tutorial.